All right, so in this video lesson, we're going to be solving the canceling timers challenge. And in this challenge, we're going to be working with set interval and set timeout. And so we have this interval, which is running right now, and this is basically just going through and running an interval every half second. And this interval is logging out the current value of this count variable, which we are also incrementing every interval. So this is just going to keep running, and it's never going to stop unless we were to essentially close this browser window, or if we explicitly cancel this interval. And so we saw in some of the previous challenges how these methods return numbers, and we can use those numbers as unique IDs to essentially cancel the timer or interval. And so here what we want to do is we want to use this set timeout method to cancel this interval after waiting some time. So we're going to wait 2.75 seconds, and then we want to call the clear interval method, and we want to pass in this interval ID. So this interval is just this value here, which we have stored the result of calling set interval. So this is basically going to have the unique ID of this interval, and we can use that ID as an argument to clear interval to then cancel this interval. And you'll see that we are logging out both of these IDs here. So we're logging out the interval ID and the timeout ID right here. And the result of that are these two lines where we see that the IDs are 1 and 2. And so it's not a mistake that it appears like these are counting up from 0, or rather starting at 1, counting up. And in fact, they are. So the language environment is basically just incrementing these IDs starting at 1 to track the timers that have been created in this program environment when it's running. And so we can use those unique IDs to cancel these timers or intervals as we need to. And so here we're going to use clear interval to cancel this interval timer. And so let's go ahead and run the code. And we'll see that this runs up until 5, and then it stops, and that is going to be passing the challenge tests. All right, so that's the solution for the canceling timers video. And now we've covered the main topics around timers. So we've seen set timeout, and we've seen set interval, and we've seen a bit about how to use them, and we've also seen how to cancel these or to clear these if we need to. So that's going to wrap it up for the challenges on timers. And the key takeaways for this are to just kind of get an understanding of how to use these methods, but also to start to get your head familiar with and start to understand conceptually how asynchronous code works, because all of these timer methods basically schedule events to run in the future. So this code is in fact running asynchronously. And so it's really helpful to start wrapping your head around what that means and to start thinking about program execution in an asynchronous way. And so hopefully these challenges have started to give you a glimpse of that. And moving forward, we're going to dive more into other areas of asynchronous code. And with that, let's go ahead and wrap up this video, and we will see you in the next challenges.